Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and normally with me, as always, is PGA Tour champion Andrew Novak. This week we do not have Andrew Novak. His wife Maddie is currently in labor, so very reasonable excuse to miss the podcast. Filling in, we have Patrick Taiedo, goes by Taco. Taco, how you doing?
Good, Grinnis. Just gonna try to do my best Joe Flacco impersonation. Wasn't planning on this till a couple hours ago, so I'm gonna need you to play like Jamar Chase and lob it over to you a couple times because was playing some golf this weekend, so wasn't completely locked in, but I'll contribute where I can here.
I love the analogy. Please get on YouTube, like and subscribe at Screenplay_podcast. We are on socials at Screenplay_podcast. You can also check out our website, thescreenplaypodcast.com. On there, you can find our picks of the week, merch, guest lists, and more. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you stream podcasts. Panthers, they upset Green Bay. You're a Panthers fan. Patriots, they keep their win streak going. Podcast goes 5-1 on the betting week. Tons of trades going down today. Real good time to be on the podcast. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, what is it for the last few weeks that y'all are record wise? I know you're 18-9 on the year.
Yeah, I'm killing it on the year. As a podcast, we'll go over it later on the bets, but as a podcast, the last 5 weeks, I think we're hitting like 70-something%. So yeah, we're on fire right now. Monday Night Football: Cardinals defeat the Cowboys 27-17. With the win, the Cardinals move to 3-5, and the Cowboys drop to 3-5-1. Jacoby Brissett, journeyman, playing on the Cardinals right now. He is playing amazing. This game, he went 21 of 31, 261, 2 touchdowns. He even had a carrying touchdown. Kyler Murray's been hurt, but the feeling is that he's not really hurt, and it's almost a soft benching. With how Jacoby is playing, I mean, I don't think they can really go back to Kyler with this type of play. The offense is just performing that much better.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of know what Jacoby Brissett is now. I swear he's been on a dozen different teams at this point, and he has at least one or two of these games a year, I feel like, where he comes in and shows something, but it's definitely not a long-term solution for the Cardinals. It'd be interesting to see how the rest of the year goes for them with their coaching situation and also their quarterback room. It seems like they want to move on from Kyler, but big next few weeks for them.
Yeah, I think Kyler, with his money situation, they're going to be locked up with Kyler at least through next year. Looking at trade suitors, I mean, I don't know what GM would really want to take on Kyler. I know he has like some outside of the building stuff that people aren't the biggest fan of, but Jacoby Brissett, he's had 3 starts this year, completing 66%, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, 286 yards a week. I think we talked about this maybe like 2 weeks ago where we did our best backups in the league. Jacoby Brissett was on both of our lists. I mean, he's really carrying this offense. McBride with Kyler Murray, the last 21 games, 3 touchdowns. McBride, the past 3 games with Jacoby Brissett, 4 touchdowns. I mean, Brissett's even putting up fantasy points, 20.7, 19.7, 24.8. It's going to be hard to go back to Kyler with Marvin Harrison Jr., with Trey McBride, really looking a lot better with this offense.
Yeah, they've definitely looked improved. One thing I was trying to research before we got on here, couldn't find any new video game releases. So I was thinking that would have solved a lot of the questions around the Kyler situation, but didn't see anything that has come out recently that would go down that path.
From this game on Monday night, the Cardinals took a big lead. Cowboys tried coming back. They scored. Every time they score late in the game, it's like, oh, here we go. Cowboys they're gonna come back. They're gonna win this game. But then we forget that their defense is absolutely trash and can't stop anybody. So doesn't matter too much. I'm starting to feel a little bit bad for Dak. He's playing okay, but he is just getting beat up. The offensive line is not helping him. And in this game, the Cowboys have 3 turnovers to the Cardinals 0. Anytime that happens, it's going to be really, really, really hard to win football games. Cowboys this week made a couple trades to try to help the defense. I really don't know what Jerry Jones is doing. He makes trades like he's a team that's, we'll talk about it later, but he makes trades like they're a contending team and they're just not.
Yeah, they're just kind of stuck in no man's land right now, and definitely kind of feel bad for Dak. He was taking a beating last night, and can't really even blame him. This is probably the worst the offense has looked this year, and But I mean, when you're going on the field knowing you have to score every possession basically to stay in the game, it's just not a sustainable way to play football. So
Absolutely. Next up, the Cowboys are on bye. They got a couple new players coming in. It'll be good for them to acclimate during the bye week. Cardinals are going up to Seattle. That'll be a good game. All right, Sunday night football. The Seahawks defeat the Commanders 38-14. This game was an absolute blowout. Seattle was up 28-0 at one point in the first half. The Seahawks continue their road dominance. They're really good on the road. They struggle at home. I don't know why. The real story of this game, Jaden Daniels, dislocated left elbow. He's out for the year. You could argue he shouldn't have been in there, shouldn't have been on the field at all. But I mean, it's football. On any play at any given time, an injury can happen. So kind of is what it is. But I personally feel like this closes up shop for the Commanders for the season, and it's not just because they lost this game, but they fall to what is it? I think they're 3-6. Marshawn Lattimore, one of their star defensive pieces, torn ACL. He's going to be out for the year. They also lose Luke McCaffrey, broken collarbone. He's going to be out for the year. Terry McLaurin, he's been in and out of the lineup this year. Debo can't separate. The defense is in shambles. You're 14th in the NFC at 3-6. You're playing the Lions this coming week. To me, the season is over for the Commanders. What do you feel?
yeah, agreed. And I saw there was a lot of pushback about Daniels playing. I didn't have a problem with him playing that late in the game, but if you just look back the way he's played football, even going back to his Arizona State and LSU days, he takes on a lot of hits and puts himself in a lot of positions where he can get hurt. And it, the amount of times he does that throughout the game, it's just going to catch up to him throughout his career at that point. I did have a question for you, Grennis. Do you
Yes.
think this season or last season was the outlier for the Commanders?
Whew. Um, I think when you have a rookie coming into the league as talented as Jaden Daniels, they won a lot of games last year that they won a lot of one possession games. They won that game against the Bears, and then they also don't have a ton of tape on Jaden Daniels. So I think they were catching people off guard on a lot of games. This year, very similar team, I would say. You bring in Debo. It's still I think it's much more of a rebuild than they want to admit. So I think last year would be the outlier. This year is obviously there's a lot of injuries. They're dinged up. The defense is weak, but I think this year is more normal for what we're going to see of the Commanders going forward. They're not going to be a Final Four playoff team every year. And with Jaden Daniels' injuries, this is like his third or fourth injury now in his second year. So it's definitely a concern. Moving forward, I think last year was much more of an anomaly than what we're seeing now. They're not catching people off guard. We all know who Jaden Daniels is. He's a I don't know, top 8 quarterback in the league right now. You got to say so. They're not sneaking up on anyone anymore.
Yeah, I think every coin flip kind of went their way last year and every good break, and it's just been the exact opposite this year. So I think, like, in reality, they're probably just a fringe playoff team going forward. Maybe they can make it past the wild card round, but I think last year kind of overset the expectations for what this group was, but it might be the inverse after the season
I mean, I
going
will
into
say as
next year.
long as Jaden Daniels is on his rookie contract, I'm never writing them out for anything. So we'll see over the next few years. But yeah, I think last year catching a lot of people off guard, winning a lot of one score games, staying healthy. It hasn't happened this year. Let's talk about Seattle for a second. They're looking really, really good. Darnold went 21 of 24 for 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. JSN is absolutely killing it. Clear number one. He goes 8 for 9, 129. Torrey Horton, the kid out of Colorado State, caught a couple touchdown passes this week. How are you feeling about the Seahawks? And then they add another piece. They add Rashid Shaheed this week, give themselves a deep threat. I'm liking what I see out of the Seahawks.
Yeah, I really trust this team. They've shown they can go pretty much anywhere and win, which oddly enough they don't at home as much. But Sam Darnold has definitely showed that last year wasn't a fluke with the Vikings and that he's more than just a system quarterback and has definitely grown into that role. So I think they're a contender in the NFC. I don't know how far in the playoffs they can go, but there's not a lot of teams that I will say they can't beat going forward.
Absolutely. Next up, the Lions are going to the Commanders, and the Cardinals are going to the Seahawks. All right, let's get to the big game of the week. The Bills defeat the Chiefs 28-21. With this win, the Bills moved to 6-2, and the Chiefs dropped to 5-4. I think Nick Wright this week on his show First Things First said it perfectly when he said uh Josh Allen is the best at beating Patrick Mahomes when the game doesn't matter. And he is absolutely right. I was on the Bills plus 2.5 here at home. I thought they would win this game. They did. They looked like the much better team than the Chiefs. They looked more buttoned up. They had their bye week 2 weeks ago. I think they were a little more fresh. The Chiefs, they struggled with the offensive line in this game. But yeah, in the regular season, Josh Allen versus Mahomes is 5-1. No issues. Clear, better quarterback, can beat Mahomes anytime he wants. Goes to the postseason, completely different story. That's where Mahomes is 4-0 on Allen. So, again, the Bills can win these games all regular season. It happens all the time. It's going to continue to happen. But we got to see this type of play in the postseason against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Groundhog Day watching this game. Every regular season, it feels like it goes the Bills' way, and then they get to the postseason, and Mahomes comes out on top, and Josh Allen's booking his trip to Pebble Beach for the following week. So
He is. He
I,
is normally, yeah.
it's one of those. The Bills kind of needed to get back on track. They stayed tied with the Pats, like at top of the division.
I think
But
the Pats still have a lead over the
the
Bills in the AFC East.
the tiebreaker, right? But same record. And
No, I think the
or do they
Patriots
have
are
three
seven.
losses? The Bills
The
have three.
Patriots are 7-2. The
Okay.
Bills have a bye, so I guess technically the Patriots are leading the AFC East, and they built the Bills. So, yeah,
Okay, but anyways, like I trust the Bills until they get to the Chiefs in the playoffs. It just seems like they've been on this repeat cycle for the past 5 years. So
from what I'm seeing personally, I think the Chiefs are a very good football team, and the one thing that you can do to beat the Chiefs, well, it's not even for them, but the Chiefs, like when their offensive line is dinged up, when you can get to Mahomes, they struggle. So I think the biggest scene we've seen from that is at the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Their offensive line was beat up. It was terrible. They couldn't handle it. They got to Patrick Mahomes. They couldn't do anything. This game, Josh Simmons, their offensive lineman, he was out. I think it was like his third or fourth game missed for personal reasons. Their left guard went out during the game. He missed some plays. Their right tackle, Jawan Taylor, missed part of the game. So at some point in the second half, they were down to just backup offensive linemen. And if you can get to Mahomes, if his O line struggles, he tends to struggle. And the Bills, they got to him.
yeah, that's a tough environment to go into. Big win for the Bills, like I said earlier, to get back on track. But I think the Chiefs are fine. I know their record's not what they're typically used to seeing early in November, but I think they're still on the right track to get back to potentially winning the AFC West and getting in that spot that we're used to seeing them in February.
In this game, I think the Chiefs. I expected them to make a move at the trade deadline for a running back. They didn't. When I'm looking at the rushing in this game, the Chiefs just don't rush the ball very well. They had 79 rush yards. The Bills had 141. The Bills had 10 more minutes of possession. If you're not rushing the ball well, it's really tough to win games. Like, yeah, you can put up points. You can give it to Rice, Worthy. You can, check it down to the side, that extension of the run game. But the Bills are a run first team. They throw to the tight ends. That's their game style. They controlled possession. They controlled the run game, and they absolutely beat the Chiefs this week. 28-21 was the score, but I think the game was much further from that than the actual score. I don't believe that the game was as close as 7 points. Next up, the Bills are playing at the Dolphins, and the Chiefs are on bye. Let's go to the craziest game of the week. The Bears defeat the Bengals 47-42. With this win, the Bears move to 5-3 and the Bengals fall to 3-6. Wild game here, absolute shootout, all offense, no defense. Started the first second with the Bengals kickoff return and kept it going all the way, capping it off with the Loveland touchdown to seal the game. Bengals offense the last two games, 38 points, 42 points, lost both. Absolute trash cans on defense for the Bengals. Jamar and Chase Brown, they let their frustrations known with the defense in the locker room after in interviews. They were not happy, clearly calling out their defense. What did you see from this game? What did you see from the Bears and the Bengals?
Yeah, as a Jamar Chase and Chase Brown fantasy owner in our Wofford League, I love seeing them call out their team and hope they keep putting up some points. But you have to wonder is how long this Al Golden experiment at DC is going to last for Cincinnati. You know that he just came over from Notre Dame. He's been in the college ranks for a while, so you have to wonder if this is just a 1 year thing and he's going to go back down. I know his alma mater, Penn State's got some openings, so could be back in Happy Valley this year, but it just, the personnel wise and scheme wise, it just doesn't seem like they have a chance this year. And especially, you'd think with how little they've invested in their offensive line, they would have enough salary cap remaining to invest in that defense, and they just haven't had the personnel the last few years there.
No, they're bottom 5 in defense spending. I think it's like $69 million. Could be off a little bit, but it's somewhere around there. Before the season, you made a prediction that Kyle Monangai would be a really good running back in this league. This game, breakout game, 26 carries, 176 yards, 3 for 5 catching, 22 yards. Monangai looks really good. He looks a lot like he reminds me of like a rookie year Pacheco. What do you think of Monangai so far?
Yeah, very physical runner. That's how he always was at Rutgers. If you, funny enough with them, they finally have a quarterback now that he's not there. But he was their entire offense the past like 4 years in college. So I'm sure it's nice for him to have someone else like Caleb play well and take the load off of him. But I think he's going to keep cutting into that carry share in the backload in the backfield there. And the offense, it seems like it's finally clicking for the Bears for the first time, probably in my lifetime.
It's tough to like. You want to say the Bears had a really good offensive week, but then you're like, yeah, they played the Bengals. I can't take anything they did this week too seriously.
Yeah, but
The
I mean, the whole year it's looked a lot better.
Oh
I
no,
know
for sure,
Caleb's
for
had
sure.
some bad games, but
It has definitely looked better. But anytime you put up 47 points on the Bengals, that it. I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot for me. You got to show it against a good team. One of the
that
craziest stats,
yeah.
one of the craziest stats from this game. So the Bears put up 47 points. You would think like Roma Dunze probably like had a couple catches, had a touchdown, probably had a nice fantasy day, right? Nope. How does Roma Dunze have 0 catches and Caleb Williams has 2 catches for 22 yards and a touchdown? I texted my fantasy group that I was like, I wonder what the odds would have been on betting like Caleb Williams gets more catches than Roma Dunze this week. It would not available betting odds, but would have been insane. I don't know how that happens. Crazy. I don't know what to make of that.
That's that will never happen again.
Next up, the Bengals are on bye. They need it to get their defense a little bit right. I don't know. And then the Giants are going to the Bears. All right, last game we're going to talk about here. Panthers, they defeat the Packers 16-13. The Packers, I feel, have the wildest range of like could be a Super Bowl team, but also like could miss the playoffs. They're like a weird one to figure out. Like they have some good wins, and then you also like you lose to the Browns, you lose to the Panthers, you tie the Cowboy. I don't know what to make of them. They've got a lot of good pieces, but it's just inconsistent from a week to week basis. I was on the Panthers plus 13 here. Old school football win here. If you run the ball better than the other team and you win the turnover battle, you win football games. Panthers outrushed Green Bay and they won the turnover battle. Rico Dowdle absolutely carried them, and that's how you win football games. Run it well, win the turnover battle.
Yeah, it seems Canales finally realized that Rico Dowdle is the running back one in that backfield. I don't know why, even after coming back from injury, Chuba Hubbard started getting just an equal share of the load. I mean, you watch those 2 games before that where he had over 200 yards a game each, and then they immediately cut back his carries and started struggling again. So it's nice to see. I think that the Panthers were inspired by their former OC getting fired again just before kickoff as a Gamecocks Panthers fan crossover. The Mike Shula curse has finally been broken, and I think Rico, as a former Gamecock himself, was inspired to get the big win over the Packers.
Well, it's got to be Rico because Bryce Young is not getting it done. 11 for 20, 100 yards through the air, and 1 interception. Um, Yeah, I don't know. That's not great, but what I will say, Carolina's got like a pretty solid defense. They're the number 13 defense right now, giving up 316 yards a game. If you can play this style of football, pound the rock, win the turnover battle, play solid defense, that's how you win games in this league. I mean, it's just that's a consistent formula to, stay in games, keep it close and see what happens in the fourth quarter.
Yep. And I think one of the biggest keys for the Panthers this year is they haven't been getting themselves so far behind in the first quarter. Felt like every game last year they were immediately down 14 to nothing, and that eliminates the ability to have someone like Rico's run game to keep you in the game and keep the clock moving. When you're constantly behind, it puts Bryce Young in a bad spot. And it seems like this year they've finally gotten off to better starts on defense, which is definitely taken easier on Bryce Young and allowed the backfield to shine.
Now, I don't think the Panthers are going to make the playoffs, but they're 5-4. Their defense is solid. They're keeping in games, and their schedule coming up. They got Saints, Falcons, 49ers, Rams, Saints. You got Saints twice in the next 5 games. You got the Falcons in there. You got a beat up 49ers team. And then in their division, they still got the Bucks twice. So there is a path for the Panthers to win some games, get into the playoffs. You got to take care of those Saints, and I think you got to at least get one against those Bucks. Let's talk about Green Bay for a second. So Tucker Kraft having a great year, fantasy darling. ACL out, so he's done for the year. I don't know what to make of Green Bay. If they still somehow like got to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be surprised. Yet if they also kind of like crashed this year and missed the playoffs, like I wouldn't be surprised either. Which direction do you think they're gonna go?
I've given up on trying to predict the Packers, honestly. After the first two games this year, I thought they were going to be great. And then the Cleveland game that they're up 10-0 with 4 minutes left and completely blow that one. It seems like every time everyone goes all in on believing in the Packers, they just fall right on their face. I mean, they have the potential to win the NFC North and be a real threat to make it to the Super Bowl, but I just don't trust them.
Yeah, we need to see some consistency out of them. Stack 4 or 5 wins together. They were really high up there in our power rankings. We're gonna see where they fell to after this loss this week. Next up, the Saints are going to the Panthers, and the Eagles, off a bye, are playing at Lambeau on Monday night. Massive game. That's probably the game of the week. All right, let's get to some other talking points from this week. JJ McCarthy, he has not played since week 2. He gets the start versus Detroit, and he gets the win. JJ goes 14 of 25, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He also had 9 rushes for 12 yards and a touchdown. What are your feelings on JJ McCarthy? You probably watched him a lot in college at Michigan. What are your feel on him for being a quarterback in the NFL?
I've been a big JJ McCarthy hater for
Hmm.
years. I feel like his entire
Why is that?
career, he's been treated with kids' gloves. I mean, they had all of the at Michigan. It was just all about pounding the ball with Blake Corum. Great offensive line, elite defense. Especially helps when you can steal your opponent's signs, but that's a whole nother discussion. And then, I mean, even at Minnesota, he's got a great supporting cast. He's got he's got probably the best defensive coordinator in the league. Solid defense, and then he's got. I know he didn't early this year, but he's got Addison back, Jefferson, and it's a system that Kevin O'Connell has a quarterback ever failed with him as their coach. I mean,
No,
look at what
they
he's
even
done
brought
for
in, yeah. They even
Carson
brought in
Wentz was playing good before he got hurt. He was playing
they
better
even
than
brought in, what
McCarthy.
was that? Josh Dobbs a couple of years ago had a good stretch with him, yeah.
So, I mean, he's never really been asked to do too much his entire career. Maybe it's in there, but he hasn't shown it to me. I mean,
No, he hasn't shown it to me either. So he's never thrown for more than 158 yards in an NFL game. 158 yards. I mean, I know he only has 3 games played, and last year he was out the entire year, but come on, man, 158. It's your second year in the league. I got to see better than that. Moving forward, though, health. That's the biggest thing. We're 1.5 years into being drafted by the Vikings, and you've completed 2 football games. So where we're at right now, like a complete fail. I need to see some health. I think they have 9 games left. I need to see you start 8 of those games. I need to just see you start 9 of those games. Um, I need to see you win like half of them. I need to see you win 4 or 5 of these games. This is not like a bad football team. Like you said, best defensive coordinator, top wide receiver in the league, good tight end, good system. Last year, you won 14 games and they trusted you to come in here. So 9 games left on the season. I need to see some health and I got to see you start winning some games here too, because throwing for 150 yards and just, I don't know, getting by is not doing it. This team has the pieces, so yeah, I need to see him step it up the rest of the season.
Yeah, it seems Kevin O'Connell's been great at having his quarterbacks play well, but I don't think he's been the best decision maker on keeping correct quarterback in his room. I mean, you see what Sam Darnold's done in Seattle this year, and I mean, shoot, he had Daniel Jones on his team
That's
last
a good
year.
point, though. We everyone's always saying Kevin O'Connell, quarterback whisperer, so he does a really good job at that, but then he just fails to keep him in the room. All right, let's get to another talking point. Chargers defeat the Titans 27-20, but they lose Alt for the season. This is massive because Slater's already out for the season. Now Joe Alt is out for the season. They currently have the 6th seed in the AFC. Their remaining schedule, they got Steelers, Jags, Raiders, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos. They're 6-3. They're second in the AFC West behind the Broncos. How big of a deal is this to lose Alt? And do you think that the Chargers can maintain success the rest of the season without Slater and without Alt?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, they were already struggling even with Alt playing this year. Herbert was already running for his life, and that running back room's been taking a hit with a lot of injuries this year. Fortunately, he's had Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston step up as well as Keenan Allen. So as long as they can scheme up some quick routes that open up, because he's not going to have a lot of time for any of those long developing routes downfield throughout the year. The Chargers are going to be frisky. I think they can hang with teams, but I just don't think on a consistent basis, like they're not going to be a team that's going to be consistently winning on Sundays when you have no time to throw the ball.
Yeah, I actually think this Alt injury will knock the Chargers out of a playoff race. So currently you're the 6th seed at 6-3. But what I want to take a note is week 4 through 6, Joe Alt was out with an injury, and that was this year. That was recently. So when he was out this year, they lost to the Giants, they lost to the Commanders, and they beat the Dolphins 29-27, who is a terrible football team. So essentially, with Alt out this year, they have just had 3 terrible games. With the Chiefs behind the Chargers in the AFC, there's a couple AFC teams here who are out of the playoff race. The Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Texans. They have to face all 3 of those teams coming up in the next 9 weeks. So without without a solid Chargers team playing some of these good teams, I do think they're going to fall outside of the playoff race. They're 6-3 right now. If they win 3 games going down the stretch, I don't know if 9 games gets you into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, I mean, like you mentioned with the Chiefs and the Ravens, those teams already also have their backs up against the wall, so you're not going to catch them sleepwalking into those games at all.
All right, last talking point here. Trade deadline week. A lot of trades happening. I'm going to take you through some of the biggest ones of the day and what it means. So the Colts, they acquire Sauce Gardner from the Jets for 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell, the wide receiver out of Texas. First of all, Adonai Mitchell's not been great. They needed to get him out of town, so that's fine. Sauce Gardner, 2 first-round picks. Obviously, great cornerback, lockdown guy, but he's been struggling a little bit this year, and 2 first-round picks is a lot. So the Colts really need to hit on this. They need to make a solid run here in the playoffs. Again, 2 first-round picks. Whew, that's a lot. I was thinking Sauce would be more like a first and a third. That's a lot. But that signals that the Jets are going to be going after a quarterback, so they're going to ruin somebody else's career as soon as they come into the league this draft season. The Cowboys, they are the one team making trades here that I don't get. Jerry Jones he makes trades like the Cowboys are 6-3 and they're just not. they're a bad football team that's not going to the playoffs. You trade away Micah Parsons and then you bring in other defensive pieces. It just doesn't make sense. Personally, I think the Cowboys are going on a bye week this week, and which means it's Jerry Jones's least favorite week. So he has to make news. I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend during Sunday, like he fires a coach at like 2 p.m. just because they're on a bye and he needs to get in the news. I don't know. So they get defensive tackle Quinnen Williams from the Jets for a 2026 second round pick and a 2027 first round pick. They also get Logan Wilson from the Bengals, linebacker. I don't get that. He was playing so bad this year that the Bengals actually benched him. Don't get what they're doing. This is straight just I need to make news, so I need to make trades. Doesn't make sense. One move I really loved, the Jaguars. They went and acquired Jacoby Myers. That is a great move. Jacksonville's having a good year. Brian Thomas Jr. is struggling. Travis Hunter just went to IR, so they get Jacoby Myers from the Raiders for a 4th and a 6th round pick. The Seahawks, they bring in Rashid Shaheed. They give away a 4th and 5th round pick. They get Rashid Shaheed. Speedster, can get down the field, can stretch the field. I think this is going to help their running game. I think the Seahawks, everyone knows they're a run-first team. They love the play action. Unfortunately, their rushing hasn't been that great this year. Number 22 in rushing, 104 yards per game. I think they want to boost that number up. I think Rashid Shaheed will stretch the defense, give their running backs a little more room to run, and help that run game. Lastly is the Eagles. They're always making trades. Howie Roseman is always just staring around the corner, looking at selling teams, trying to make a trade. They get Jair Alexander in a pick swap with the Ravens, and then they go and grab Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from the Dolphins, for a 3rd round pick. So good moves there for the Eagles. They're going all in as they always do, and they got a good team. Those were the big moves from the trade deadline. Let's get into our power rankings. All right, last week on our power rankings, teams ranked number 1 through 4 lost. So we're getting a big shakeup in power rankings this week. Let's see what happens. At number 10, we got the Colts, 7-2. They just lost to the Steelers. They acquire Sauce Gardner. They're leading the AFC South by 2 games. They're a good team. They just got better. They're going to be making a playoff push. At number 9, we got the Lions, 5-3. They've been a little inconsistent. They got a great roster. They just took an L to the Vikings. I just need to see some more consistency out of the Lions because they have the pieces there. At number 8, we got the Patriots, 7-2. They're on a 6-game win streak. They cut it close this week with the Falcons, but hey, Patriots always have a little luck over the Falcons. They're leading the AFC East. At number 7, we got the Chiefs. They dropped a good bit here. Chiefs, 5-4. They lost at the Bills. The O-line was dinged up. I think they're going to rip off some wins after this bye. Chiefs at 7. At number 6, we got the Bucks, 6-2. Bye week. Bucking coming back, leading the NFC South. At number 5, honestly, this might be a little low, but we got the Seahawks, 6-2. They looked so good on Sunday Night Football. They play better on the road. They just acquired Shaheed from the Saints. Seahawks moving forward are going to be good. At number 4, we got the Broncos, 7-2. Best 4th quarter team in the NFL. They're getting sacks, and then Bo Nix isn't getting sacked. So that's a great combination. It's an even better combination when the weather gets colder. A lot of their wins are ugly, but they're 7-2. They're leading the AFC West. I got to have the Broncos there. At 3, we got the Rams, 6-2. This could be the best team in the NFL. They cooked the Saints. Massive game against the 49ers this week. At 2, we got the Bills, 6-2. They just beat the Chiefs at home. This is a tight end running team. They got really good tight ends they throw to them, and they got James Cook. Allen versus Mahomes, regular season, they are always good. I want to see what the Bills do in the postseason. At number 1, we got the Eagles. Bye week, Howie Roseman making deals. The top teams lost. They move up. They got the best roster in the NFL. They played no football this week, and they moved up to the top spot. So good for the Eagles. A lot of that has to do with Howie Roseman making some deals too. I will note, I got the Packers outside the top 10. They lose Tucker Kraft, inconsistent. They're right there at 11. 49ers, I got them right there as well. Just so many injuries. And then I dropped the Chargers. They're down to 13 with the alt injury.
Love a Grinnis. Can't wait to battle some people in the comments who don't seem to understand the concept of power rankings. So
it's funny. Wednesday mornings, I post power rankings every Wednesday morning. And TikTok is a violent place. People will go on there and just say absolutely anything. And it's always like user 50697. whatever. But I mean, violent place on Wednesdays mornings with my power rankings. Like you'll see, I'll have Seahawks at 5, and somebody will go in there and just write, "How do you not have the Seahawks as the best team after that?" Like, it gets so emotional and personal.
I hope they know
It's
that I'm
funny.
leasing this mic because it's too expensive for me to have a mic. So just before they come at me with that.
All right, let's get into fantasy football. Week 10 starts. I'm going to take you through some good starts this week. Daniel Jones versus Atlanta. Atlanta has one of the best run Ds in the NFL. They're going to have to get past Atlanta through the air. So I think Daniel Jones is going to have a couple touchdown passes, have some good air yardage over there in Berlin. Wan'Dale Robinson versus Chicago. Chicago D is terrible. Wan'Dale Robinson last week versus San Francisco, 9 for 11. I think he puts up another stat line like that and throwing a touchdown. Zach Ertz versus Detroit. Mariota's going to be playing, and Mariota loves Ertz. He throws to him a lot when he's in there. You got Luke McCaffrey out, so Ertz is going to see a production of an up production of targets and probably just some good play with Mariota. Rome Odunze versus the New York Giants. Last week went 0 for 3, 0 catches. I think Ben Johnson schemes some stuff up for him in this off week and gets Rome doing, get him in there. Travion Henderson. This is only if Ramondre Stevenson is out. If Ramondre Stevenson is out, get Travion in there. Last week he had 4 catches, 14 carries versus Atlanta. You could see a similar or better stat line against Tampa Bay this week if Ramondre is still out. Last one I want to put in here is David Montgomery versus Washington. Washington's all beat up. They have a bad run D, and when that happens, Montgomery has good games and gets in the end zone. So I think it's a good week for David Montgomery. Week 10 sits. I'm going to get you through some of these players that need to be on the bench. Bill Crosby-Merritt, big name earlier in fantasy this year. Past month, he's just done absolutely nothing. Last 4 weeks, 5.8, 4.2, 2.5, 5.1. This week, they're playing Detroit. It's a bad game script. They're going to be losing. He's not going to be running the ball much. Bill Crosby-Merritt's got to be on the bench. Woody Marks versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville has the number 3 run D. I think it's going to be a bad week for Woody Marks. If Jacksonville and Texans, if this game was like 13-10, I wouldn't be surprised. 2 really good defenses there. This one's going to shock some people, but Ashton Genty this week, they're playing Denver. Denver, again, another top run D, and the Raiders likely going to be losing. I just don't see a good week for Ashton Genty. I think he's projected for like 14 or 15 fantasy points, but man, I don't know if he'll get there. Last one is Jameson Williams versus Washington. Just talked about how it's going to be a big run game. Washington run D is terrible. So I think this is a big Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery game. This is a game where we might see Jameson Williams get 1 catch. Not a bad player, just a bad game script for Jameson Williams this week. Waiver wire. Players to look at. For quarterbacks, I just mentioned this as a start, but I've gone through some waiver wires. Daniel Jones is still in there, number 6 fantasy quarterback. He's playing ATL this week. Good run defense. I think he's going to get some points through the air. Wide receiver Olamide Zacchaeus on the Bears. The past 2 weeks, 10.3 points, 17.8. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 13 catches on 15 targets. Last year, PFF had Olamide Zacchaeus ranked as a top 10 wide receiver in, in like all around stats. He didn't get the ball much, but in this Bears offense this year, he is getting production. So take a look at Olamide Zacchaeus. We can also take a look at Darius Slayton versus Chicago. He's getting about 6 targets a game with Neighbors going out. Dart still throwing the ball to some people. So Darius Slayton versus a bad Chicago D this week is someone to look at. Tight ends. There's a lot of tight ends on the waiver wire. We're saying this every week almost, but Cade Otton, Theo Johnson. I saw some Jawan Johnsons on there. Like, there are a bunch of tight ends that can get you 10, 11 fantasy points that are on the waiver wire. Couple defenses to target this week. We've talked about it this episode. The Panthers defense is solid. They're number 13 defense. They're playing New Orleans this week. Panthers defense is probably going to actually do fairly well against New Orleans unless New Orleans does something that I'm not seeing. The other defense that I'm seeing on waiver wires to target is the Browns. The Browns are playing the Jets this week. This could just be like whoever kicks more field goals wins the game. So I like the Browns defense against the Jets this week. Let's get over into gambling. You started the podcast off by saying we were hot. We are absolutely on fire. The last 5 weeks, the podcast is 23-7. That is a 76.6% hit rate. Last week, I went 3-0. I took Panthers, Rams, and Bills. They all hit. I am now 18-9 on the year. I'm hitting at 66%. Just absolutely insane. We're going to keep it going. Andrew, last week he went 2-1. He took Ravens that hit, Lions missed, and 49ers hit. He is now 14-13 on the year. Buys this week. Cincinnati Bengals, Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs, and Tennessee Titans. They are all on bye. I'm going to take you through the lines. Thursday night, we get Raiders at Broncos. Broncos are favored by 9.5. Sunday morning, we're back to some international football. 9:30 in the morning from Berlin, we get Falcons versus Colts. Colts are favored by 6.5. 1 p.m. window, we get Saints at Panthers. Panthers favored by 5.5. Giants at Bears. Bears favored by 3.5. Jaguars at Texans. Texans favored by 1.5. Bills at Dolphins. Dolphins getting 9.5. Ravens at Vikings. Vikings getting 3.5. Browns at Jets. Jets getting 1.5. Patriots at Bucks. Bucks favored by 2.5. 4 p.m. window, we get Cardinals at Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 6.5. Rams at 49ers. 49ers getting 3.5. Lions at Commanders. Commanders getting 9.5. Late night game, we get Steelers at Chargers. Chargers -3. On Monday, big game of the week, we get Eagles at Packers. Packers favored by 2.5 at home. What is the most must-win game of the week?
Yeah, I think it's that Monday night game with Packers Eagles. I think the Packers need that win to stay in the division race for the NFC North. They've got a pretty tricky schedule coming up. I think do they still have to play the Lions twice? I know they have to play the Bears twice, who's playing a lot better, and they still have the Broncos on the schedule as
All right.
well. So
I got the Texans. The Texans are playing the Jaguars. That's a big matchup. So the Texans, if they lose that game to an in-division rival, the Jaguars jump to 6-3. That's a massive game for the Texans. What are your three bets of the week?
was really hoping I could just play defense and just coast through my screenplay career at a 3-0 career record, but putting that back on the line again this week. So starting off, I'm going to be fading your Patriots I'll take the Bucks -2.5 at home. I think Drake May's been great the past 6 weeks. He's had over 200 yards and a 100 passer rating, which has only been done by Brady.
Yeah, that list
Rod.
was insane. It was like Mahomes, Manning, Brady. Yeah.
So
May's been playing well.
I think just they're kind of due for a letdown game at the Bucks -2.5. So I'll take Tampa there. We've already gone off on my JJ McCarthy tirade. I'll take the Ravens -3.5 at the Vikings. Back against the wall. They know they have to win that game. I think Lamar, with a couple extra days of rest, get healthier. I think they'll run it up on the Vikings. And then last game, we just saw them play a couple weeks ago. 49ers are at home now and getting 3.5 points against the Rams. I think it's going to come down to the wire and give me the points with the Niners at home against the Rams.
I like it. All right. I am gonna go Bills -9.5. I actually think that line is way too low. This game is it's a 1 p.m. game at the Dolphins. This has blowout written all over it. Next, I'm taking the Ravens as well, -3.5. I was shocked to see this line so low because over the past couple years, Lamar versus NFC teams, his record is outstanding. I thought that this line would be closer to 7, 8, 9 points. So I'm shocked to see the Ravens -3.5. I think they blow the doors off that one. Last one I'm taking here. Steelers on the road at the Chargers getting 3 points. I love it. I love it. Chargers are struggling without Alt. I think the Steelers win that game on Sunday night. So give me the Steelers +3. We mentioned this earlier in the show. Andrew is currently with his wife at the hospital. Maddie is in labor, but Andrew was kind enough to send in his picks of the week. He wouldn't miss that. So Andrew's picks of the week are: he is taking Browns -1.5. He is going Bills
That's gross. That's a gross game.
It is a gross game. He is going Browns -1.5. He is going Bills -9.5, and he has taken the Seahawks -6.5. Lock them in. All right, let's get to our survivor pool. $0 entry fee, $500 cash to the winner. We started with 187 contestants. Entering this week, we had 25 left. Moving on to next week, we have 20. So 5 people died this week. 48% took the Rams, hit. 20% took the Chargers, hit. Big loss of the week, 16% took Green Bay. That knocked you out. Taco, are you still alive in our survivor pool?
No, I lost week 3.
Week 3?
That's why I was very salty about the Browns losing to the Packers earlier. So
Novak's not on the podcast today, but he's still alive. He is still one of the 20. He's still alive, looking at that $500 cash to the winner. All right, next week on the pod, special guest. We haven't had a guest in a few weeks, but we got a guest coming on. Colt Knost. He played on the PGA Tour for 8 years. He is now an on-course commentator for CBS Sports. He also has his own podcast at Golf Subpar. That's golf_subpar, where he has exclusive interviews that go beyond the world of golf. He is a big football guy. He's a Cowboys fan, and he's a ball knower. So we will have a lot of fun with Colt Knost next week. Don't forget to get on YouTube, like, and subscribe at Screenplay_podcast. We are on socials at Screenplay_podcast. You can also check out our website, thescreenplaypodcast.com. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you stream podcasts. Thank you to Taco for filling in for Andrew. Novak will be back next week with a child. So,
yep,
congratulations
thanks for having me,
to him.
Nani, congratulations on having a kid. I think his dad's strength might allow him to start finally out driving me the next time we play golf. So might help him going forward on tour next year too.
All right. We will see y'all next week. We appreciate all of our listeners and good luck.
Appreciate it.